Now, a while ago, you have seen I did the Succubus class. Oh, there is a new Succubus modded class. This one with 2 different subclasses. So let's go over it. We're going to start with the Fiendish. So we're going to level by level, combat tune, all the items you could need. So of course we start with the Succubus, and this will give you charm points. So charm points represent your energy levels, and primary resource for using your powers. Regain charm by draining enemies or resting. We gain distracting form. So your Succubus form is a distraction to foes in combat. While not wearing armour, you add your Charisma modifier to your armour class. Temptatious Aura. While not wearing armour, enemies attacking from within melee range of you find it hard to focus. They receive 2 stacks of Lust after making an attack. And Honeyed Words. Your expertise in flattery and manipulation give you a bonus to persuasion checks. You also gain Charisma and Constitution saving throw proficiencies, and proficiencies with daggers, quarterstaffs, light armour. Now you will notice a lot of this relies on not using armour, so that is going to be a heavy focus of this build. And then we get to pick our subclass at level 1, and there's the Fiendish and the Fiery. The Fiery is a lot more sort of like damage dealing. The Fiendish, which is the one we're starting with, is more battlefield control and manipulation. So with this you gain Charming Resilience, which is resistance to psychic damage, taking only half from it. As a cantrip we can do Shapeshifts, where we can polymorph into a small or medium humanoid. Succubus command, use your charm to control a charmed creature mind for a short moment. Command it to flee, move closer, freeze, drop to the ground, or drop its weapon. Caressing Touch, so lay a caressing hand on a foe, it has disadvantage on its next attack roll. Ray of Lust, release a ray of energy that deals psychic damage and inflicts 2 turns of Lust. Now, Lust here, affected entity has a -1 to attack rolls for each remaining turn. Reduce the duration by 2 each time the entity makes an attack. So the more Lust stacks, the less sort of bonuses to its attack rolls it will have. And Fiendish Charm. Charm humanoids to prevent them from attacking you. Affected entities are subsequently more willing to comply to your next demand. You also gain advantage on charisma checks against non-hostile creatures. So we have our Charm, which is like your ability points, almost like sorcery points, and we have our Lust. Just 2 things to manage. So for your ability points, we're going to have 8 strength. We are going to have, when I do this properly, 14 dexterity, 16 constitution, 10 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 16 charisma, as this is our spell casting modifier. And then for proficiencies, take whatever fits your roleplay. At level 2, we unlock an additional charm point, and Draining Kiss. So lay a deadly kiss upon a foe charmed by your Fiendish charm, regain half as many hit points. You recover 2 charm points on a success and 1 on a failure. On a successful save, the target will take half damage, and the charm condition will end upon taking any damage. But this is a nice way of dealing some pretty decent damage and getting some of those charm point mats. And the Lust Step. Teleport to an area you can see and land on an explosion that inflicts 2 turns of Lust. Basically Misty Step that will nullify enemies' attacks. Pretty awesome ability. Succubus level 3 brings another charm point, and Light Footwork. Whilst not wearing armour, you're more agile, your movement speed increased by 1.5 meters. Again, all about not using armour here. Entrancing Gaze. To stare at the heart of a foe with an entrancing gaze that inflicts 1 turn of entranced. On a failure, inflict half damage. And entranced, movement speed reduced to 0, disadvantage on wisdom saves. Psychic Blade. So conjure a blade of psychic energy in your hand that deals 2 to 16 psychic damage. When you use the sword to attack a target that is charmed by you, make the attack roll with advantage. The blade can be unequipped and equipped again, but must remain on the spellcaster's person until long rest as a concentration. And Lust Beam. Call down a beam of arousing energy that damages any creatures that enters the beam or starts its turn in the area. Each moment spent in the beam inflicts 2 turns of Lust. You can use an action to move the beam 18 meters. Awesome way again of spreading Lust around, especially if you've got a fighter or barbarian that's sort of like tanking the battlefield. Moving this around, putting it on the enemies that they're fighting, getting that -1 to their attack roll. Level 4 brings another charm point, and Song of Sleep. Creatures must make a wisdom saving throw or fall asleep. You can move, but cannot take any actions while performing the song. Creatures are immune to the effects of the song for 1 turn after succeeding against the enchantment or taking damage. Heartbreaker, so they would have given everything for you. Release your charm over an enemy early and break their heart. Fueled with rage and regret, they will only want to attack you. So this is a very tanking ability. This is sort of like your traditional taunt ability in RPGs. And Absorb Energy. Link yourself to a charmed target and absorb their energy. Deal an additional 1 to 8 psychic damage each turn by activating the spell. Recover 1 charm point per activation after initial connection. Now, for an ability point here, we are going to bump this up, and we're going to bump our Charisma up to 18. Level 5, you've guessed it, once again we get an additional charm point. Drain Mind. So drain a creature's mind. If its wisdom is below 9, it takes damage and is stunned. Otherwise, its wisdom is reduced by 3. So you can see this plays very well with other spellcasters that need spells that use wisdom for saves. So this will play very nicely like druids or wizards and really just dominate that battlefield. Charm Creature. So your succubus powers can influence the desires of non-humanoids. Charm a creature to prevent it from attacking you. Affected entities are subsequently more willing to comply to your next demands. Nice way of like charming wolves, owlbears, that sort of thing. Destroy Minds. An eruption of psychic energy deals psychic damage to charmed creatures and inflicts 1 turn of entranced. And Compel Creature. Compel any creature charmed by you to fight alongside you for 1 turn. Awesome if you can land this on like a barbarian or a fighter and benefit from all those extra attacks they get. Okay, Succubus level 6, another charm point. Honeyed Words, so we gain another bonus to persuasion checks. Mesmerise and Dance. So perform an entrancing dance that mesmerises enemies. They're unable to take actions. Creatures are immune to dance for 1 turn after succeeding against it. And Succubus Invigoration. Expend energy to heal a creature you can touch. Awesome healing ability now. So not only can we control the battlefield, control enemies, we can also heal our allies. Succubus level 7, an additional charm point. Improved light footwork, so it's now an increased movement speed of 3 meters while not wearing armor. Infernal Chains. Bind your target with infernal chains that render it unable to move, cast spells, or take other actions. Attacks against the affected creature have advantage. Target makes a dex saving throw to resist being chained, and subsequently makes a strength saving throw to remove them at the end of their turn. If you're more than 12 meters away from them at the end of the turn, this will break. This is a nice way of just like nullifying an enemy and tying them down. Charm Field. So pacifying energy surrounds the caster. Humanoids affected have to make a wisdom saving throw or become charmed. Nearby enemies take 1 to 8 psychic damage per turn and their movement speed is halved. And Conjure Fiendish Ally for 4 charm points until long rest. Conjure a Fiendish Ally from the Hells to aid you. They can cast Fiendish Charm, Draining Kiss, Ray of Lust, and Caressing Touch. Succubus level 8 brings another feat, another charm point, and Drain Life Force. Drain the life from a charmed creature with less than 15% of its remaining hit points, causing it to instantly die. Creatures who save take 1 to 10 psychic damage, and we recover 1 charm point on a success. And Mind Wipe. Wipe the mind of any creature that is charmed and leave them only with thoughts of their lust for you. Affected creatures become confused and remain charmed. Awesome way of getting 2 stats effects here. For an ability improvement, we are going to bump our charisma up to 20. Succubus level 9 brings Ethereal Escape. So when damaged, spend a reaction to escape to the ethereal plane. Return to the battlefield at the start of your next turn. Really sort of defensive capability here. Control Mind. To make a humanoid charmed by your power fight alongside you. It makes a wisdom saving throw against your domination at the end of every turn. Allies cannot be dominated. And Psychic Wave. Unleash a wave of psychic energy that hypnotizes and charms foes caught in the blast. An amazing ability that I'll show you in the combat tutorial. Succubus level 10 brings an additional charm point. And Charm in Defense. Take half the damage from all sources. This lasts for 2 turns, awesome in a boss fight. Control Creature. Control the mind of a creature, you make it fight alongside you. It makes a wisdom saving throw against your domination at the end of every turn. Undead, Construct, Aberration, Ooze and Plant enemies cannot be controlled. This is very similar to the previous level 1, just for creatures. Succubus level 11 brings Mastered Light Footwork, so it's now an increased movement speed of 4.5 meters. We can fly. And Domination Aura. Unleash an aura of controlling energy that makes all charmed creatures fight alongside you. Affected entities make a wisdom saving throw against your domination at the end of every turn. This is a big ability. It costs 5 charm points, but if you have loads of enemies charmed, and then you land this, you can have just, for a turn, a whole army of enemies helping you. And then finally, Succubus level 12 brings our final feat, our final charm point. Honeyed Words, and even a bigger bonus to our persuasion checks. Destroy Psych. So for 50 to 100 damage, we unleash a thin, purple ray of psychic energy from your fingers to destroy the mind of an enemy. And Unwavering Loyalty. Force a humanoid charmed by your power to fight alongside you for 4 turns. Cannot escape your control until the condition ends or the succubus dies. Again, another huge ability. Now for a feat here, we are going to take Alert for the +5 bonus to initiative and allow us to not be surprised. Okay, let's go over equipment. And we start with the Circlet of Mental Anguish. When an enemy fails a Charisma, Intelligence or Wisdom saving throw against one of your spells or cantrips, will regain 1 to 4 hit points. The Cloak of Displacement. This will activate, granting enemies disadvantage on attack rolls against us until we take damage. The Boots of Genial Striding. The wearer's movement speed is unimpeded by difficult terrain, very useful to pair with our increased movement speed. The Potent Robe. So your cantrips do additional damage equal to your Charisma modifier, again really building around our Charisma. Well liked and well fortified. At the beginning of our turn, the robe activates, granting temporary hit points equal to our Charisma modifier and an armor class +1. You'll see overall we do have an armor class of 20. Big thanks to that is the Braces of Defense, which will add a +2 bonus to armor class, as long as we're not wearing armor or holding a shield. For rings, I've gone with the Crypt Lord ring, as I think this fits the build pretty thematically. The Burnish ring for use of Paralysing Ray. The Moondrop Pendant, so with 50% hit points or less we won't provoke opportunity attacks. And then for weapon, I have gone with Bloodthirst. Reduces our need for critical by 1 to 19, but creatures hit with this weapon receive vulnerability to piercing damage. Really useful way of spreading this around if you've got like a rogue or a ranger, something like that. And it means you can save your staffs for your high-end spellcasters like your Gale or your sorcerers, that sort of thing. So with that being said, let's go find some combat and check this out. Okay, before we trigger some combat, we are going to use our first ability and we'll conjure our Fiendish ally. Get ourselves a nice little support helper on the battlefield. Okay, you can see we've started the combat and we are actually top of the turn order alongside our rogue. So first thing we're going to do, Fiendish Charm. Now for 3 turns, and we can target 4 people, let's charm a bunch of enemies. And there you go. So you see we have charmed all, well we charmed 3 out of 4, unfortunately they made their save. Now we have 10 points available because we spent 4 doing our Fiendish ally. But of course we have so many other options here we can now do. You know, we have Compel Creature, we have Mind Drain, lots of awesome things. But let's start with a Psychic Wave. And there you go, you see we hypnotise one enemy, we cause 9 damage to this one, and 9 damage to this one. So, that was that first turn sorted out. You see the only ability we have is Fly, which is not very helpful at the moment. We've got our Charming Cambion, and again they have a bunch of abilities as well, one of the main ones being Ray of Lust. So we can use this to shoot the enemy. And now thanks to the Ray of Lust they have a -1 to their attack roll. You see the Lust caused the enemy to miss there, but then they did hit us unfortunately. Now we have an enemy right in front of us, so let's do our Caressing Touch. 14 damage, and thanks to Caressing Touch, if we come into here, you'll see they now have disadvantage on their next attack roll. So really nice way of just nullifying them there. When it comes to bonus actions, we don't really have much, but what we can do, for example, is a Lust Step. We'll get ourselves out of danger, we'll throw ourselves down here, and there you go, you see once again we spread more Lust around. You see another nice big miss there, missing both of them thanks to those Lust stacks. And of course, with our Cambion here, we can move up close, we can do an unarmed strike, or we can do a Draining Kiss, a Ray of Lust, a Caressing Touch. Let's do, if I move in close, thank you. Oh, and we attacked for some reason, not what I meant to do, but okay. Okay, let's move in close, and we're going to try and charm some enemies in a circle here. So we'll do our Charm Field. And there you go, you'll see we have charmed both the enemies here, so both melee combatants. And then we're back to our Charming Cambion, and again, Charming Cambion, lots of awesome abilities. So if we move up a little bit, we have our Ray of Lust, we can fire another one of these. And there you go, reduce the enemy's attack again. Okay, we're going to move up here. And once again, let's try charming some enemies. So we'll Fiendish Charm, the Spellcaster, the Sorcerer, the Barbarian, and can we see you? No, unfortunately not, that's a shame. But let's start with these 3. And there you go, we managed to charm all of them. And then if I was to drop down here, we could once again throw out some other abilities. So we could do Absorb Energy, we can do a Ray of Lust, so we'll throw out our own one, reduce... Where's the enemy I'm after? Can I see you? Not quite. Can I move up a little bit more? There we go, Ray of Lust. Can I get you at all? It's not looking likely, that's a shame, so we'll target you. And there you go, huge 15 damage. Now we have 2 charmed enemies here, so let's link with a life force, or not a life force, sorry, with absorb energy. And we'll link ourselves to Terse here. And there you go, now by linking them, we can regain a charm point every time we reactivate this. Now we do still have a few other big abilities to show off, so let's do Destroy Psyche. And there you go, absolutely annihilated them. And you'll see we gain the 4 hit points thanks to our headwear. Now let's also charm some enemies for next round to show off another ability when I can get it. And we'll just focus on those 3 for now. And there we go, we landed on 2 of them. And one of our other big abilities we have is Unwavering Loyalty, where we can charm, or sorry, force a humanoid charmed by us to fight alongside us. So let's do that on Thirsty. And there you go, we now have him completely loyal to us for 4 turns. And as you can see, we still have our bonus actions available. So let's do our Psychic Blade. And now we're ready to start showing off the damage this can do on our next round. And you'll see our ally here did 62 damage because we made sure we did a rogue who has sneak attack. Okay, so let's run in here and we'll show off our damage with our Psychic Blade, just so you can see it. And there you go, see a huge amount of damage, and we still have our dagger in our offhand because it moves it over. And you'll see our ally once again coming in here and just finishing off the barbarian for us. But that really is the gist of this entire thing, and there's still other things we can do. For example, we have our Heartbreaker, we have our Song of Sleep, so we do this. And this will put to sleep anyone that doesn't make a save. Now unfortunately, as you can see, our movement is really short and no one fell asleep, sadly. And that is the Fiendish subclass for the Succubus mod. As I said, very, very battlefield control-like. You do have to be very careful and keep track of your charm points, as it is very easy to drain them instantly. But as long as you keep on top of them, you keep replenishing them, you can really just dominate the entire battlefield. The Fiery Succubus is very different to the other subclass within this mod. This one is much more damage dealing, whereas the other one is more battlefield control-ish. So let's go over it. We're going to level by level, combat on all the items you can need. So of course we start with the Succubus mod. Now this will give you charm points, and these are very similar to like sorcery points. You need these to do some of your abilities. We gain Distracting Form, so you see your Succubus form is a distraction to foes in combat. While not wearing armour, you add your Charisma modifier to your armour class, and you see having high Charisma is actually very important for this. Temptatious Aura, so again while not wearing armour, enemies attacking from within melee range of you find it hard to focus. They receive 2 stacks of Lust after making an attack. Lust build up basically gives them a -1 to their attack rolls. We gain Honeyed Words, so expertise in flattery and manipulation give you a bonus to persuasion checks. And then we get Charisma and Constitution saving throw proficiencies, as well as Dagger, Quarterstaff, Light Armour proficiencies. And that brings us to the subclass. Now, like I said, the Fiery Succubus, very different to Fiendish. Fiendish is a lot more sort of battlefield control-ish, almost bard-like. Fiery, a lot more damage dealing. So with the Fiery one, we gain Hellish Resilience. So we gain resistance to fire damage, only taking half from it. Shapeshift as a cantrip, so we can polymorph into a small or medium humanoid. Succubus Command, so use your charm to control a charmed creature mind for a short moment. Command it to flee, move closer, freeze, drop to the ground, or drop its weapon. Burning Touch as a cantrip, lay a hand on an enemy, 1 to 12 fire damage. Rays of Fire, so we hurl 2 rays of fire, each ray dealing 1 to 6 fire damage. And Fiery Charm. Charm a humanoid to prevent them from attacking you. Affected entities are subsequently more willing to comply to your next demands. Also grants advantage on charisma checks against non-hostile creatures. So you can already see there's a balance here between like control-ish abilities and damage dealing. For your ability points, we're going to have 8 strength, 14 dexterity, 16 constitution, 10 intelligence, 10 wisdom, and 16 charisma. For proficiencies, take whatever fits your roleplay. The Succubus level 2 brings an additional charm point. We gain Flame Step, so we can teleport to an area you can see and deal 1 to 8 fire damage where you land. This is a bonus action, but it does cost 2 charm points. We get Draining Kiss, Slay a deadly kiss upon a foe charmed by your fiery charm, and regain half as many hit points. Recover 1 charm point on a success. On a successful save, target takes half damage, charm condition will end upon taking damage, so it's a nice way to recover some hit points and a charm point. And then the Hellish Rebuke. Now, we all know how Hellish Rebuke works, but this one costs charm points, not spell slots, so bear that in mind. Succubus level 3 brings another charm point. Light footwork, so now when we're not wearing armour, our movement speed is increased by 1.5 meters. We gain Flaming Gaze to release a beam of fiery energy that inflicts 1 turn of burning. Fiery Blade, meaning we can conjure a flaming scimitar in our hand that will deal 3 to 18 fire damage, but it costs charm points, but is only a bonus action. And Flame Beam. Call down a beam of fire from the hills that damages any creature that enters the beam or starts its turn in the fire. You can use an action to move the beam 18 meters. This does require a dex save, but it only costs 2 charm points. Succubus level 4 brings our first feat, an additional charm point. The Song of Sleep, so creatures must make a wisdom saving throw or fall asleep. You can move, but cannot take any actions while performing the song. Creatures are immune to the effects of the song for 1 turn after succeeding against the enchantment or taking damage. Costs 3 charm points, it is a wisdom save, and you do move slower when walking around with this. Heartbreaker, so you release your charm over an enemy early and break their heart. Fueled with rage, they will only want to attack you. Costs 2 charm points, and it's a good way of tanking the battlefield. Problem is, you aren't the most tankish class, so it can be hit or miss. And then Absorb Energy. Link yourself to a charmed target and absorb their energy. Deal additional 1 to 8 psychic damage each turn by activating the spell. Recover 1 charm point per activation after initial connection. Huge way of regaining your charm points, allowing you to do more abilities. Now for a feat here, we are going to take the ability improvement and we'll bump our charisma up to 18 as this is our spellcasting modifier. Succubus level 5 brings an additional charm point. We get Drain Mind. So drain a charmed creature's mind. If its wisdom is below 9, it takes damage and is stunned. Otherwise, its wisdom is reduced by 3. So you can already see here there is a lot of abilities here that only work on charmed creatures. We gain Charmed Creature, as in the cantrip here. It is a bonus action, and you can charm a creature to prevent it from attacking you. Affected entities are subsequently more willing to apply to your next demand. This works on non-humanoids. Fire Eruption, so for 4 charm points you can emit eruption of fire from within against all nearby enemies that deal fire damage and inflict burning. And Compel Creature. Compel any creature charmed by your power to fight alongside you for 1 turn. Succubus level 6 brings an additional charm point. Honeyed Words again, so expertise in flattery and manipulation give you bonus persuasion checks. Mesmerizing Dance. So creatures are immune to the effects of the dance for 1 turn after succeeding against it, but you can perform this to mesmerize enemies. And we come in here, entranced by the succubus's dance, they cannot take actions, so this is a really big ability. And then Succubus Invigoration, we can use 2 charm points to heal a creature we can touch. Succubus level 7 brings an additional charm point. Improved Light Footwork, so when not wearing armour, you're more agile, your movement speed increases by 3 meters. Infernal Chains, so bind your target with infernal chains that render it unable to move, cast spells or take other actions, and attacks against this creature have advantage. The target can make a dex saving throw to resist being chained, and can then make a strength saving throw to remove the chains at the end of their turn. If we move more than 12 meters away from them, the chains will break. Field of Fire, so a circle of fire erupts around the caster and damages all enemies who enter the area. New movement speed is halved while in this field. This lasts for 10 turns and is concentration. And we can conjure a fiery ally, and this is a huge ability as well, as these can do Fiendish Charm, Draining Kiss, Raise of Fire, Fire Claws. It's awesome. Succubus level 8 brings our second feat, another charm point, Drain Life Force. So, drain the life from a charmed creature with less than 15% of its remaining hit points, causing it to instantly die. Creatures who save will still take 1 to 10 psychic damage, and we can recover 1 charm point on a success. And then Wall of Hellfire. Create a blazing wall of hellfire, burning anyone who dares stand too close. Anyone in the vicinity of the wall is seared with rolling hellfire. And if we come into here, flames from the heart of Avernus engulf this entity, inflicting 6 to 36 fire damage per turn. Huge damage. For your feat here, you probably guessed it, but we are going to bump our charisma to 20. Succubus level 9 brings an additional charm point. Ethereal Escape, so when damaged we can spend a reaction to escape to the ethereal plane, and then return to the battlefield at the start of our next turn. This does cost 3 charm points though. Control Mind, so you can make a humanoid charmed by your power fight alongside you. It makes a wisdom saving throw against your domination at the end of every turn. And then Cone of Hellfire. For 4 charm points, we can make an eruption of flames from the heart of Avernus engulf the area and scorch the ground with Hellfire. Succubus level 10 brings an additional charm point. Charm in defense, so take half damage from all sources now. This lasts for 2 turns, costs 2 charm points. And Control Creature. Control the mind of a creature control the mind of a creature and make it fight alongside you. It makes a wisdom save against your domination at the start of every turn. This does not work on undead, construct, aberration, ooze, and plant enemies. Succubus level 11 brings another charm point. Mastered Light Footworks, now our movement speed is up by 4.5 meters when we don't wear armor. We can fly, and Domination Aura. Unleash an aura of controlling energy that makes all charmed creatures fight alongside you. Affected entities make a wisdom saving throw against your domination at the end of every turn. And then finally, level 12, we gain our final feat, an additional charm point. More honeyed words, so bigger bonus to our persuasion checks. Turn to Ash, so this is like Disintegrate but the fire version, 50 to 100 fire damage. And Unwavering Loyalty. Force a charmed humanoid to fight alongside you for 4 turns, cannot escape from your control until the condition ends or the succubus dies. And then for a feat here, we are going to take Alert, boost ourselves up the turn order with that +5 to initiative, and allow us to not be surprised. Okay, when it comes to equipment, we're actually doing a very similar build, or setup I should say, to the Fiendish Succubus. So we start with the Circle of Mental Anguish. When an enemy fails a Charisma, Intelligence, or Wisdom saving throw against one of your spells or cantrips, we'll regain 1 to 4 hit points. We've gone with the Cindermoth Cloak, so if a creature attacks us within 2 meters, they will receive Burning, huge, and fits this sort of subclass thematically very well. The boost of Junior Striding, so unimpeded by difficult terrain. The Potent Robe, so our cantrips deal additional damage equal to your Charisma modifier. At the beginning of our wearer's turn, the robe will activate, granting us temporary hit points equal to our Charisma modifier, and a +1 to armor class. For gloves, we're going with the Braces of Defense for a +2 bonus to armor class as long as we're not wearing armor or holding a shield. The Crypt Lord Ring, as I think this just fits the theme of this build thematically, being able to create an undead. The Burnish Ring for use of Paralyzing Ray. The Moondrop Pendant, so if we have 50% hit points or less, we won't provoke opportunity attacks. Really big since we aren't exactly the most tankiest of builds. And then for a weapon, I've gone with Bloodthirst. Reduces your need for a critical by 1 to 19. And if we hit an enemy with this weapon, they receive vulnerability to piercing damage. But you're probably going to be using your Flaming Scimitar most of the time, to be honest. So, with that being said, let's get some of this going. And the first thing we are going to do is we are going to summon our little companion when I can find them. Our fiery ally. And there you go. Now, this has used a bunch of our charm points, so we need to regen some of these in combat. And with that being said, let's go find some combat. Okay, you can see we have started the combat and we're top of the turn order alongside our rogue. So let's start charming some enemies. Now we can do this as a bonus action. So let's charm the enemy here, we'll charm the enemy here, and let's charm Sledge here. And unfortunately 2 out of 3 saves, so that's not ideal. But from here we do have the ability, we can do a bunch of other stuff. So what we will do is we will absorb energy. So we'll link ourselves to Sparks here. Now see we did a bunch of damage to the enemy here, but it means we can reactivate this and regen some of our charm points on significant turns. Now for some reason our demon wasn't in the combat, but you just see we did 10 damage with our Fiery Claws. Okay, so we're back inside the combat with our opponent, or our ability I should say, and we're going to confirm an activation of Absorb Energy. Now you see in the bottom we have 10 charm points. If we activate this, 16 damage killing the enemy, and now we have 11. Now because that does cost an action, there's not really much else we can do, but if we wanted to we could do a Fiery Blade, we can do a Flame Step. So if we did this, and we popped up here, there you go. But as you can see you do get friendly fire, so bear that in mind. Now you see the enemy just took 3 burning damage thanks to hitting us. Now our fiery companion isn't just good for melee, as we know it has Raise of Fire, and we can shoot that at this enemy here. And there you go, huge damage with the crits. Okay, it's time for us to start charming some enemies again. So, we'll charm Skeeve, We'll charm the Barbarian. Can we see anyone else? We can see Runt. Now we charm that one. Unfortunately, these two made their save, but if we come over here, we can run in here and we can do things now that we have him charmed, such as compel creature. So if we did this, he will now fight on our side for 1 turn. Now unfortunately that does use all your actions, and if we had everyone we could do the wave that would compel as many as possible, but these guys are tricky little ones to lock down. So there is our compelled ally, and you can see taking shots at the enemy up there. And then there's the burning damage on that enemy. Our fiery companion, once again, now, we don't have anyone charmed. See, if we try to do this, everyone is an invalid target because there is no charmed creatures. So we have to rely on things such as our fiery charm, and we'll try and charm them with our Cambion-esque thing. And there you go, both are charmed. Now, thanks to that, we can do a draining kiss. And you'll see 7 hit points back, 15 damage to the enemy, and they now have 2 turns of lust thanks to attacking our Succubus. Now, you can see we have our Succubus's turn once again, and we have other abilities. So, let's do a fire eruption. And you can see just how far the radius is, it even hit people all the way down here. But alas, we caused a bunch of burning damage to the enemies. And of course we still have our bonus action, so if we wanted to we could do a fiery blade, we could charm a creature. What we're going to try and do is charm the Barbarian in front of us. Can we see you? No, we can't. So in that case, what we're going to do is we're going to move up here, because we've only got 4 charm points left, so we need to try and replenish some of these. So let's come up here, and let's try and charm you. And there we go, we have them under our control. Now you see that enemy torched? The Barbarian below also took 1 fire damage. Now see our Fiery Cambion has taken a bunch of damage thanks to that eruption, so we're going to regen some of it. And we're going to do a Draining Kiss on Skeeve here, who is still under our control. 16 damage and some hit points back, not too bad. Now, with this enemy here, we could compel them to fight for us for 4 turns using all of our points. What we're going to attempt to do though is once again, absorb energy, link ourselves to the enemy here, because we want to keep regenerating our Succubus points. And then with our bonus action, obviously we have other things we could do. We could do True Strike, Flame Step, Charm Creature, but we're trying to restore as many of these points as possible. And with our Fiery Cambion, we're just going to take some Flame Strikes, 18 solid damage. Wow. And that leads very nicely into our Succubus, and let's activate our Absorb Energy. And there you go, we'll regen one of our charm points, and you can keep doing this to build them back up. The problem is, as you see, that does use your whole action. Again, we'll take some strikes with our Fiery Claws, and unfortunately we missed. Now, let's try one final turn of charming enemies, so let's charm Skeeve, we'll charm the Barbarian, and we'll charm Terse. And we landed it on 2 out of 3 this time. Awesome, so from here we know we can do a big dominating aura. This will use 5 charm points, but as you can see we have charmed the Barbarian. We tried to charm them but it didn't work, but the Barbarian is now on our side for a turn. So obviously if you do this you have the chance to be able to charm up to 3 charmed enemies. Pretty cool stuff. And from being charmed you can see he now fights for us, so he's going to go hunt down the rogue on top. Or maybe not. He's going to finish off his power burn. Now you see, still dominated for 10 turns, so we can just use him to hunt down that one. Now with a Fiery Cambion, again we have range capabilities, so we'll throw some Rays of Fire at them, which mostly missed. Now we also have some melee capabilities when it comes to spells and stuff, so let's do our Burning Touch. 35 huge damage with a crit. And you can see our dominated enemy acted as a nice little meat shield, meaning once again we can try and end the fight with some Rays of Fire, just like that. Now that's only some of the abilities the Succubus has. There are so many you can do. We didn't even try things like Field of Fire, Control Mind, Cone of Hellfire. So this is really a mod to play around with, see what really fits. I tried to give you a bit of flavour for everything. So I hope you have enjoyed this. If you have, please drop the video a like and check out the mod, it is incredible. If you want to, please subscribe to the channel as well. I've got more guides to Baldur's Gate, to Path of Exile, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, Dragon Age, basically all the amazing RPGs you could ever need. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.